Hey everyone, this is Sensei and Sophie Briggs. We're going to go over some things tonight. Might take a couple of different videos to do, some things that we teach in our class. And please note that these are the things that we're going to go over are the things that we teach, the things, the way we do things in Kidokime-ryu Karate-do. Right, Sophie?
Right. Doesn't necessarily mean, well, we're going to do fighting, we're going to do footwork. Okay. And eventually not, or maybe even cover tonight some fighting strategies. But it's how we do it. Right. It's how we teach this. And, you know, of course, different style has different ways that they do things, just like, you know, our katas is different than somebody else's katas and so forth. The way we teach sparring or our footwork, as in the way katas is, ours may or may not be different than anyone else's. But if you teach Kidokime-ryu, or if you study Kidokime-ryu, this is what you should be studying right here, because this is what we teach.
Exactly.
And this is a lot of what we teach tonight is going to be going on a lot of the same principles that Dan Anderson taught way back when in American karate. So we teach by a lot of the same principles as far as sparring as what he did, and this can be used as dojo sparring, full contact sparring. Some of the strategies can be used in sport karate during point sparring. These strategies can be used. Not all of them might apply to all three, or not all of the strategies may apply to all three types of sparring, as in dojo sparring, point sparring, and full contact sparring. But some of these strategies may apply to different ones of them. So you're not limited. This is only the way you should point spar, or this is only the way you only use this for dojo sparring, because you can pick out and use what you need to on all three of them. You know, but again, this is the way we do it, and it mirrors pretty much the same principles that Dan Anderson taught in American Karate years ago.
Okay.
So you got a list of questions there, right? These questions that Sensei's, excuse me, is going to be reading off is questions eventually that you will hear as you're testing for belts, because and again in Kidokime-ryu, for every belt, even your white belt, to be recognized as a white belt, you've got 25 questions you got to learn. So these are taken from, we're not going to say what belt, but these are taken from somewhere between that white belt and that black belt. These questions that she's got on this piece of paper, some of the questions that are mandatory for our students to learn at some point.
Yes.
You know, in there. So
yes.
They all know this. So if you want to go ahead and read the questions off and then lay your paper down, and we'll start going over it.
Okay. All right. First question we have is, what is meant by sitting in a stance or sit down in a stance?
Okay, so sitting in a stance or sit down in a stance basically just means, that's our terminology of getting lower, you know, like show them a horse stance. So if Sensei's doing horse stance, she's in class, and I look at her and I say, Sensei, sit down in that stance. You know, basically what I'm telling her is get lower, sit down, get lower, because we want you to sit down in a stance or get lower in the stance. So that's what is referred to as the term sit or sit down in a stance. You know, and you use those for all your, and we'll be discussing this later, but all your low riding postures, you can use those. You know, you wouldn't tell somebody in a high riding posture, sit down in a stance, but if it's a low riding posture stance, you know, if they're not low enough, you might tell them sit in your stance. Front stance is another one. Sit in your stance. Yes. That means get lower in your front stance or back stance. Sit in your stance. That means get lower, get closer to the floor.
Right.
And that back stance.
Right. Okay. Next question we have. What is meant by the term don't stick or lay your hands on or to your body?
Okay, so if you hear one of our instructors say, don't stick your hands to your body. Don't lay your hands to your body. More often than not, you'll hear that phrase when we're practicing techniques or if we're sparring. And what we're telling somebody to do is get your hands off your body. Show them what we're talking about. If you're in a fighting stance, face camera a little bit. Now put your hands close to your body. So if you're fighting somebody, and believe it or not, you see a lot of people that fight like this. They got their hands real close to their body, especially beginners. Someone that's never taken any type of fighting class before. They'll get like this. With this is sticking your hands to your body. And we're saying, don't stick your hands to your body. Don't lay your hands on your body. That's what we're saying. What we're trying to do is get them to come back out and pull their hands out away from their body, get to the side, so maybe the camera can pick this up a little bit. So as you can see, now get my fighting stance facing this way. So as you can see, by looking at Sensei here, her hand, like I can open my hand up. That's how far it is from her body. And in this position right here, she's got her guard up so that she can either deflect, shield, block, parry, whatever she's trying to do of any kind of my attacks coming at her. But if she's like this, or she's fighting real close like this, that space compared to this space can mean all the difference in the world, whether or not you're going to get hit or not. Exactly. And as a lot of people out there knows, as a lot of people out there knows, I fought all different kinds of fight. I used to box. I used to be a boxer and stuff like that. But even boxers, boxers don't do this. No. Boxers got their hands way out here. And boxers typically don't block. It's bob and weave. Right. Versus in martial arts, we teach to block and counterattack. And stuff like that. But still, even though boxers don't block, they got their hands out here. Because even if I want to hit you from here to here, this is this much more space that I don't have to go to try and get to you. Right. Or if you're trying to hit me, this is this much more space that I'm keeping you away from me, hopefully. Like if you throw some kind of punch at me, if you lunge and throw some kind of punch and my hand is out here, it's easier for me to block rather than if my hand's up here and you lunge and throw that punch.
I'm already at you.
You're right there on top of me, So that's what we refer to as don't stick or lay your hands on your body. Don't get your hands up in there too close. Get them out here in front of you. Not in front of your eyesight, because you never, ever, ever want your hands, you don't want anything covering your eyesight. Not the way we teach anyway. We teach that lead hand up around the bottom of the chin area, maybe the mouth area, something like this, and we'll go over maybe another lesson of what hand is responsible for what, when you're in a fighting stance and stuff like that. What does this hand is responsible for defense-wise, and what's this hand responsible for defense-wise, and stuff like that. But neither one of them can do their job if they're in here, stuck to your body or laying on your body. They need to be out here so they can do the job that their job is not only strike and hit you, but their job is to keep you off of me too.
Right, exactly.
So.
Okay. Next question. At what angle is a right or left hand fighting stance at?
Okay, so again, this is something that maybe, well, I know a lot of other styles that teaches this too, because I've studied a lot of other styles, but here we teach a 45-degree angle.
Right.
Like face just straight on to the camera. You just pull one leg a little bit further back behind the other, but basically you got your torso. So if you see how Sensei is, this silhouette of her body, her whole upper torso, even though she's got her hands up, look how big of a target this is to strike. So we don't teach fighting like this, but at the same time, turn your whole side toward the camera. But at the same time, we don't teach fighting like this either, where your whole side is toward your opponent. because you're creating blind spots back here. You know, there's a happy medium between those two, and that's our 45-degree angle stance. You're kicking that back leg out, you're pulling the front leg over. You kick this back leg out a little bit, pull your front leg over, and you open up at a 45 like this. 45-degree angle, like if your opponent, let's stand like this, maybe they can see it better.
This way?
I don't want to get in front of the camera, like you and I are fighting, okay? So if she's standing at a 45-degree angle stance, notice she's not standing with her whole side to me, because she's got a blind spot right here. And if I'm really fast with this hand, or really fast with this lead foot coming across this way, or even say a spinning hook kick where I come across and nail her with a hook kick like that, she never picked that up because she's got a blind spot. But yet she's not like this either. There's a happy medium in there. That happy medium is splitting the difference. It's what we call 45-degree angle stance. Whether it's in your left hand fighting stance like Sensei is, or your right hand fighting stance like Sensei is. It's an angled stance. You're reducing the blind spot over here, but you're not completely opening this body up. Turn the other way. Left hand fighting stance, face me. But you're not completely opening this body up, because you see her rear guard's still up here. And she's not opening her body up by turning it to me. She's like this. But she's reduced this blind spot back here too at the same time. So whether it's left hand fighting stance or right hand fighting stance, it's 45-degree angles toward your opponent. If she's my opponent, my stance is just like this, right hand or left hand, just like this, 45 degree. Not side and not straight on. And again, this is just how we teach this stuff. So I think we're going to stop there because I want to give the homework assignment out tonight.
All right.
Today is the 14th?
Yes.
14th. So, and we got 30 days in April, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know anything about this because I was thinking earlier and I forgot to tell you. What I think I want them to do for a homework assignment is I'm going to text everybody in our Charlotte class down here. I'm going to text you, and most of you already knows it anyway. I'm going to text you my email address. I will also, and y'all probably don't know this, text you our mailing address. By April 30th, 16 days from now, I need to receive from each one of you, each one of our Charlotte students, each one of our Charlotte Kidokime-ryu students, this is your homework assignment. I need to receive from you a written biography on Funakashi Sensei. So, Sensei Getchin Funakashi, give me a written biography. I don't want it handwritten, I want it typed out so it's legible and read. And it has to be a minimum of 2 pages. I don't care how long it is. If you can write a book, 100, 200 pages in 16 days, then have at it. You know, but it has to be a minimum. Here's the minimum things that I need in this. And this is everybody's homework assignment. This is the only one you're going to get for the rest of the month of April. But it needs to be in my possession by 10 o'clock April 30th, 10 p.m. April 30th. It needs to be in my possession. Either arriving in our mailbox or you can email it to me. And like I said, I'll send out a text message and give everybody the email address and our physical address where you can mail it to me. But it needs to be a minimum 2-page typed, not double spaced, typed biography on Funakashi Sensei from his childbirth to his death. Childbirth to death. I want you to research it, do the history of it, type it up, and send it to me. Okay? Everybody knows that Funakashi Sensei is the founder of karate. He did have 2 mentors specifically that helped him coming up as a kid, but you research those. I want to put those two names in there too, by the way. Go through his childbirth, through his birth, through his childbirth years, or through his birth, his childhood years, his young adult, into his all the way up, in his later years, all the way to his death. So birth to death of Funakashi Sensei. Minimum 2-page report.
I like it.
Typed, and like I said, we will send you an email, our personal email address, and then we'll send you the physical mailing address. If anybody else is watching this that's not in the Charlotte class, we'll go ahead and give out the karate email address now. That way, if anybody wants to correspond with us there, it's Kidokime-ryu at yahoo.com. That is spelled Kidokime-ryu at yahoo.com. There's no spaces, there's no hyphens. I know how you spell Kidokime-ryu, there's a hyphen in there, but if you're doing it as an email, it's just all, there's no hyphens. It's spelled Kidokime-ryu at yahoo.com, and that's our email address. So either send it to that email, and I'll be sending everybody our physical address. You can either send it to me in the mail, or you can send it in that email, but I need it from everybody. Everybody, if you're going to test in August, please listen to this. If you are going to retest in August, regardless of your rank, whether you're a white belt, whether you're a black belt, or anything in between, I want a biography on Funakashi Sensei from childbirth to death. You know? And don't plagiarize it. Don't plagiarize. Don't research something online and type it in word for word, because I've got, I won't say all the books on him, but I've got quite a few books on him. I've read a lot online because he's in my lineage and our lineage in Kidokime-ryu. So if you start plagiarizing something in there, I'm gonna pick up on it real quick. And don't have nobody else do your work for you. I know everybody in the Charlotte class, and I know about how everybody words things.
True.
And stuff like that. So I can pretty much tell you, if you send me something, whether you wrote that or somebody else wrote it, the worst thing you can do to me is lie to me. Don't get somebody else to write your paper for it and put your name on it and send it and say, hey, so here's my homework thing, because
not cool.
Yeah. Cool. If I find out about it, you won't be testing for quite a while, much less this coming August. And it's not going to be very pleasant for you coming into the dojo when we open back up. You know, fairly easy to get along with, but you know, I've been doing this for over 52 years. Don't come in with your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever years of experience and think I'm gonna pull one over on Soki, because
Ain't gonna happen.
Well, I won't say never. I won't say it won't happen, but the chances of it happening is gonna be slim to none. And if I catch it, then I can guarantee that it will not be good. Because we need to be, you know, part of every Bushido code that we train by is integrity, you know, and this is a chance for you to show your integrity. Do the work yourself. Type it up yourself. Email it to me, or stick it in an envelope, throw a stamp on it, and mail it to me. I mean, it's really that simple. And you got 16 days to do this, to research it and do it. But that's your homework assignment. And then Thursday night, we'll carry on with the rest of the questions.
Okay.
And we'll just keep pushing and doing that until we wrap up, at least on this one subject. And then we'll find another subject to go to after that.
We will.
But don't forget the homework assignment. And doesn't have to be done by Thursday night, doesn't have to be done by this weekend. You got to 10 p.m. on April 30th, the last day of April, to have that in my hands where I can read it for my viewing pleasure. There's no right or wrong. I just want you to do your own work. I want you to do your own research and do your own work and put it in your own words and tell me about from birth to death on Funakashi Sensei. I mean, how hard is that? You know? Everybody in class is either in school or going to school. The only person that might have, the only person that's going to be exempt from it will be Evangeline. Evangeline is 6. I don't expect Evangeline to do her work on that. But Evangeline, honey, if you could get your mom and dad, just pull up something, Google Getchin Funakashi, and pull up something and read it, you know, or have them read it to you. And then when we get back in class, then you can come up to Sensei Briggs, Sensei Carr, or myself, and just tell us what you've learned from your mom or dad or your grandmother, reading a little bit about Getchin Funakashi. I want everybody to know about Getchin Funakashi. It's very important, especially in their style of martial arts. So, but that's your homework assignment. You got anything?
No, that sounds good to me.
Okay, all right. Then I guess that's it.
That's it.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.